man who doesn't apologize for telling the truth, a truth teller, a man who carries the scars of leadership, but also the discipline that built him. Today's guest is that man. Dave Anderson, you might have seen him. He's gone viral in recent weeks. He's on a tear right now all over the internet, AKA the business bully, AKA Taz, has become one of the most controversial and impactful voices in the business culture. People know the tough talk, the viral clips, the unapologetic philosophies, but have always wondered, who is the man, Dave Anderson, behind the viral moments? Dave Anderson is a 22-time best-selling author, business architect, and cultural truth teller behind The Real Black Agenda, the book. Go get it. It's out now. The book nobody in politics or media wanted Black America to read. Former radio and TV insider turned unapologetic strategist, Dave exposes how systems really work while giving Black entrepreneurs the tools to build power, not just popularity. He doesn't do respectability politics. He does receipts, strategy, and results. What shaped him? What broke him? What forged him? That's what we're going to get into today here on Faucette Media. Hit the like button, the comment, subscribe. You're not going to want to miss this one because I'm just telling you, it's going to be one of them ones. Anyway, Dave Anderson, how you doing?
Thank you so much for having me, man. Big fan of the channel. I'm just excited to be here, brother. I could not be any better if I were you, bro.
All right. Yeah. All right. So before we get into the main internet cultural virality moment that's happening right now for you, I want to talk about the man before all of this. Who were you before the business bully existed?
Wow. How far back you want to go?
Take it back to the crib.
Wow, crib. So Philly's where I'm from. I was born just outside of Philly, but I don't really know too much about that in like a little place called 3 Mile Island, Middletown, Pennsylvania. My parents split when I was 3. My mom is from the Richard Allen Projects. You know, my dad was a cop. My mother was a teacher. I had an older brother, God rest his soul. He's just an amazing two-sport athlete. When my father got sick, he kind of filled in those gaps.
You dedicated your book to him, didn't you?
I did.
Yes, I heard that.
And it's so funny. I started writing this book, and all I could hear was God here, and I hear my brother here. As weird as that sounds, and it was hard. Not only did I lose my brother, but I had to eulogize my brother on my 10th wedding anniversary.
Oh, damn.
So it was, bro. It was absolutely brutal, but I had a conversation with him right before he passed. He was in the hospital, and I said, you gotta get your ass up out of here. He said, what you gonna do if I don't? I'm like, I don't know. That's not on the table. He said, any way you slice it, you'll be all right. You know exactly what to do. You got it from here. And that's why I say, don't worry, I got it from here when in the dedication, because, my brother is the person that helped me navigate what it meant to be a Gen Xer and be a Black man in America. And so he was my guiding light. He was my lamppost. And for me, it was different. I've lost my father. I lost my stepfather. I lost my grandparents. But losing my brother, it's like, it really did something to me that shook me to my core. And I was just like, you know what? I got to do something different. But aside from all that, man, I went to the worst high school in America, Martin Luther King High School. It was so bad that they brought in Joe Clark. And Joe Clark said, I can't do nothing for y'all, but tell y'all to, persevere.
Lean on me.
Yeah, not Morgan Freeman, actual Joe Clark. He was like, I can't do nothing but to keep it on. And then he was out. Like, they brought Jesse Jackson in and tell us to keep hope alive. But, we had metal detectors. We was dodging bullets and machetes. Look, man, it was insane. Wow. When I tell you worst high school in America, like, it's documented.
What part of Philly?
Germantown, Mount Airy, West Oak Lane area of Philadelphia.
Okay.
There was actually a documentary on Netflix because they closed down our crosstown rival, Germantown High School, and they put all the Germantown High School kids in. This is way after I graduated, but yeah, man, I did not.
Ensued.
Yeah, bro. Like, why would you do? That's like putting the Bloods in the Crip territory. Like, why would you do that? You just.
Right.
But the thing that I always found interesting was people think that I had some silver spoon in my mouth where I have some type of magical advantage. The only advantage I had was dedicated parents.
Yeah.
And, my wife told me something and it like really tripped me out. She said, Dave, you don't get it. I said, what don't I get? I'm coaching these people. They're making money. What is it I don't get? She was like, you're pushing them too hard. I said, how am I pushing them too hard? She says, you have this thing that I've never seen in anybody else. I said, what? She was like, you won't stop. I said, what do you mean? She's like, you don't know how to give up. And I'm like, no. And she was like, do you know what it is? I said, that's how I was raised. She said, exactly. Your mom would let you do whatever you wanted to do, but if you quit, you couldn't pick it back up. So it was either do or die. If you quit, you could never touch it again. So if you're going to do something, you had that level of dedication. Everybody ain't got that discipline. And I was just like, yo. So that to me was my tactical advantage. And then, I had more musical and performative talent. My brother was more social and athletic. And so we, went to school, went to college, all that good stuff. Started my radio career when I was 9 years old, retired at 35.
At 9?
Yeah, everybody does that, but nobody bats an eye at the Olsen twins. Nobody batted an eye at Webster. Nobody batted an eye at Gary Coleman.
But you got a point.
A kid being in a seat, talking with a microphone in front of him when someone else is running the board and somebody else is feeding them questions and all they have to do is be themselves is not particularly difficult for a kid of relatively average intelligence.
Right.
But again, for a black kid to be the, youngest contracted radio personality in history up until that point, I get it, but I just wanted to talk.
Right.
I wasn't looking at it like that. Everybody's like, oh, it's amazing. And then like, you take that and then you go through high school in the worst high school in America. And then your teachers are like, oh my God, look at this shining light. He's in the newspaper. Oh God, why do they have the newspaper? Why are they showing it to these Negroes?
I'm about every day.
Roasted, fighting the whole, bro. It was bad. But ironically, that song, what's that song by Sierra? That song, Oh by Sierra.
Oh yeah.
One of the dudes who produced it, Vidal, we went to high school together. Eve and I went to high school together. Eve was a year behind me. So they're like Kamal from the Roots went to King. So it was a really interesting time. There was a lot of talent coming out of the school in spite of the conditions of the neighborhood and the way the school was being run. Aside from that, I went to Temple, met the love of my life on my first day of school. Didn't get married till much later because, she hard-headed.
Yeah, right.
But, I've got two beautiful daughters because God wants me to have premature gray hair, as evidenced. And, that's it, man. I got an 80-year-old mother in Gold Canyon, Arizona. My life is blessed. I'm thankful. I am grateful. And, I've been working for 4 decades to get here. So I'm happy to be here. And that's, pretty much the ABCs of me.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. That's really, that's really going back to the essence, to the core, to the Philly. Because you need to know what comes before when you start getting into these larger conversations. Because I like to understand what makes people come forward with a consciousness about their people and want to move in a certain way. Now, you wouldn't call yourself a cultural leader or anything, would you?
No, I don't. That's the problem. I had a friend, Dr. Julia Hare, and she said one time, the problem with black people isn't black leaders, it's leading blacks. You got all these folks out here trying to lead black folks this way. I can deliver the black voice. I'm the black vote. I'm the King Kong of consciousness. I'm the Sultan of what?
One of your Philly brothers named the King Kong of consciousness, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I guess he's in Delaware. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still waiting.
He don't rep the city.
He's in Delaware. Like, people who, and again, I'm not firing shots. I speak facts, right?
No, I get it.
It does not take 15 years and $2.8 million to start a school. It doesn't.
Dr. Umar Johnson's school has taken about that time. Yes, you're right.
And so that in and of itself, like when people are like, oh, you remind me of Dr. Umar. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't take on things that I know I can't handle, and I'm not sitting up here telling people I'm going to do something. I'm not Dashiki's Dumbledore. I have no interest in opening a Hotep Hogwarts. I ain't nobody's leader. I'm a black man who has a lot of fact-based opinions.
Hold on. Don't go over that Harry Potter reference there you just made.
Oh, Dashiki Dumbledore, because he's going to open this. He's going to open his
school. So the Harry Potter.
Yeah, because it's a Hotep Hogwarts. It's a Hogwarts for Hoteps. You know, I mean, he's already got the magical spells. FDMG, funds done, magically gone.
Wow, wow.
Join.
What is your history with Dr. Umar? Have you ever met him?
Oh yes, I met him. I've shared the stage with him. Very nice guy. I met him like 15 years ago. I don't have anything personal against him.
No,
I
right.
just don't think it's cool for you to ride off on this. Here's what I mean. Let's look at this logically, right? Because I know some of you tearing down a black man. No, I'm not.
They always
I'm presenting
say that.
facts, and that's the problem with black people. You can't have a reasonable critique of someone without somebody saying it's personal. So let's just review the facts. Fact number one. Where is the curriculum? Have you seen the curriculum for FDMG? You have
I
not.
have not.
Who are the teachers who have said, I am being paid this amount of money. I have signed on to take this department over of the Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, Hotep Academy of kids who want to read and do other things good too. Have you found a teacher?
Not a one. I've heard requests for teachers. He's asked for teachers to come forward, but nobody seems to be stepping up. As much trash as
Because if you got the job, like Umar's been running this play or been on this campaign since before my 10-year-old was born.
Okay.
King Randall, who built a school in 2 years, was in 6th grade when Dr. Umar started this.
Yep. And what grade? 6th grade?
6th grade. He's 25. He's a year younger than my oldest child.
Oh my God.
And he built a school Tony Stark style in a cave with a box of scraps.
Right.
So no, this was something, either two things happened. Either it was too much for him to handle and he can't admit that he might want to scale back, and COVID would have been his perfect cover because he could have moved online like Khan Academy or EDX. And
Well, he kind of did though. Well, no, he didn't move the school online, but he moved his persona online.
I mean, yeah, he became a meme.
Right.
But I'm talking about to pay off some type of return
Yeah.
for the $2.8+ million allegedly he's collected.
Mm.
That's that. But that's the thing. We want to believe so much. He's our great pumpkin, and we're all a bunch of black ass Linuses waiting for him to come to fruition.
The Gen X references are endless with you.
So
We're about to get the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown coming up pretty soon. Thanksgiving's right around the corner, and family is very important.
Yes.
I still want to stick on this Umar topic because there are several people that have popped up in culture in the past few years that have taken up a lot of air in the black community.
Certainly.
One of them in particular that you've mentioned quite a bit and has been in the news this week is Roland Martin.
Now, hold on. No, don't be a dumbass. Go to my iPad. Not the bully chick's face. Not the bully chick's. No, dumbasses.
You stupid ass fools.
You stupid. You're stupid.
Wait, you stupid fool. What does calling black people stupid fools do to improve the black community? Because I think Roland Martin he knows something we don't know, obviously, right?
Well, he knows he's a musty tether. And because he's a musty tether, he thinks it's okay to disrespect foundational black Americans because he somehow knows better because he's a talented 10th picked and selected Negro. Because again, he does a lot of complaining, but what does he deliver tangibly for black communities? Are the black communities throughout America by and large better off since Roland Martin got on YouTube? Has he offered, have you bought Roland Martin's book?
Does he have a book?
Exactly. So, what is he contributing other than high cholesterol and disrespect with his merry band of yes men? Going, yep.
Go ahead, name some names.
I don't know these people.
Dr. What's his name? Greg Carr.
Okay, yeah.
From Howard.
Oh, okay, yeah. My daughter went to Howard. I paid his salary. That's cool. So,
yeah, right.
but again, what are you doing other than calling people dumbasses? And I don't know how you were raised, but my grandfather, with a 6th grade education, says you get a lot more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
That's a fact.
If you're sitting up here telling people they're dumbasses because they don't think the way that you do, and they don't see things the way that you do, your initial response as an alleged intelligent black leader, finger on the pulse of black America's response is to disrespect us by calling us dumbasses. You know what a dumbass does? A dumbass has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, can't do a push-up, and continues to eat his way into oblivion, all while telling black people they need to get their act together. Sir, as a person who was 561 pounds, I wasn't telling nobody to get nothing together until I got myself together. You
That's
can't,
right.
what did Jesus say? You can't talk about nobody with a speck in their eye when you got a plank sticking out of yours.
Yep.
And that man is, he's got more planks than daggone Captain Hook. Arr, shiver me timbers. And then the other part of that is, I'm not trying to be funny, that you can say whatever you want. Before he took ill and then age kicked in, Louis Farrakhan was somebody that people could follow. Malcolm X was somebody that people could follow.
Yeah.
Marcus Garvey, who was a portly man, was still someone who held masculine frame and was somebody that people could follow. If Black America depended on it, would you right now, Faucette, say, you know who I want to lead us to the revolution?
Go to my iPad.
Roly.
Come on, man.
Rotund Martin.
When Charlemagne called him Rotund Martin, I said, damn, that's better than any insult I got. I thought Tariq calling him Rolly the Boule Bird was the top of the top, but when he called him Rotund Martin,
Yeah, Charlemagne actually pointed out one that I didn't remember, which was Gerald Desert
Gerald Desert.
from Tariq Nasheed.
Yeah, that was classic.
Yeah, man. Tell me about your time. You've known Tariq, or you've followed Tariq's work,
Absolutely.
as of many of us. Tell me about Tariq's impact on your work. Has he been influential?
I think Tariq's been influential. He's we've written things like he wrote the foreword for one of my books. I used to tour with Tariq. Tariq is a good friend. I consider him a good friend. I spoke at the rally for reparations. Absolutely love Tariq, man. I think Tariq's a great guy. You know, I look at, again, you'll know the tree by the fruit that it bears. He said he's going to do a hidden history museum. It's a hidden history museum. And he turned it into an event space. So there's comics who can't get in at the Funny Bone, can't get in at the Laugh Factory. They can go to the Hidden History Museum and they can work out the material. They can make money. He's creating an opportunity for people to sell stuff. Like, it does not take much.
I've actually been there. It's amazing. It is amazing. Like, as much criticism as online talkers and whoever else wants to say about the Hidden History Museum and its significance, what he's done is quite amazing.
Right.
With very little, like, out of thin air, he was able to raise millions of dollars. Like,
But again, consistency will always beat your criticism. Hidden Colors, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them bad boys? 1804, like the eugenist. Like, he does something. He says he's going to do it. He does it. He raises the funds. He does it. You see the tangible results.
Right.
Books, media, documentaries, live events, physical properties. He has done those things. Whether you like him or not is irrelevant. Has he done what he said he was going to do? And in comparison, and that's the issue, Roland Martin does not like anybody who can steal his thunder. And that's the problem. But again, I can't speak for nobody but me. I talk this greasy in person as I do on the internet.
That's right.
You've never seen me hide behind some black woman and call security.
That was ridiculous.
But yeah,
Tariq Nasheed.
I'm like,
Like, I'm surprised, like, he hasn't been confronted more. I'm not encouraging that activity, obviously, because words are words. And
no, I don't want anybody. I do not do that.
But I'm interested because he does, like, pop a lot of shit with a lot of different people. Like, he's recently gone at Charlemagne the God for spreading quote unquote misinformation. Like, what he did different than any other time at the Breakfast Club, I'm wondering how that struck Roland as misinformation, other than the fact that it goes against his political leanings and edicts or whatever has been pushed on him.
We're going to play a little word association. I'm going to say a phrase, and I want you to fill in the blank. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Don't bite the hand that
feeds you.
Thank you. So what do? They send their attack gorilla out.
Charlemagne, misinformation.
He didn't say what he lied about.
Nothing.
It was just the way he said it, because the way he said it showed that the Democrats were responsible for
The shutdown.
shutdown. And he didn't like that because that's not what his masters, is about. So you walk around here wearing t-shirts talking about unbought and unbossed, but you were bought and paid for by Kamala Harris. That is a statistical fact. You sit up here and say vote like a black woman, but then you disrespect Vicky Dillard.
Yeah, that t-shirt too.
Like, come on, man.
Oh, he disrespected Vicky Dillard? I thought he was... Oh, no, it was Boyce working with Vicky, right?
Yeah, Boyce was working with Vicky. But no, he sat up there and he mentioned Vicky Dillard by name. And it's like, okay, so now...
Oh, I think I covered that video, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to talk about a black woman who's battling health ailments, undisclosed health ailments, and who's doing something for black people and helping black people get to a different level of consciousness, because you are intimidated by anybody who is not you, who has a microphone and can possibly build an audience.
Damn.
I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me how I'm lying.
No, you're 100% correct. I mean, I noticed that. It seems he has a new target as we have a rising figure in media, because he feels like he should be the top media figure, even though he has been proven. And you remember the Sony leaks, the emails that came out. Since we're talking about emails this week,
let's talk about
we talk about the Sony emails, Roland.
No, we're not going to talk about that.
That he was giving questions over to the Hillary Clinton campaign.
Of course. You didn't see him buck dancing for Massa?
Man.
He's going to do whatever they tell him, but you calling everybody else sellout.
Gotta show you how to wobble, Hillary. Hillary, let me get the wobble on. Go to my wobble iPad.
I just want to tell somebody go to my iPad. I need to get an employee over here so I can tell them that.
Get to my iPad.
As much as he talks about iPads, how come he doesn't have a deal with Apple?
Apple sponsorship by now, right?
Right. I ain't mentioning nothing that's not giving me a check. But again, some of us do business, other of us do busyness.
That's interesting. And you are the business bully. Can you tell us, we touched on a couple of topics I do want to circle back to, but can you start telling us about your business coaching and your history as a businessman?
Yeah, my history in entrepreneurship goes back to the mid 80s when my father bought a corner store on a cop salary. And I was like 7, 8 years old, and he showed me how to use the register. He put me behind a register and he'd be going all day. And so I learned very quickly how to reconcile the books, how to make sure the receipts were, how to clean up, deal with that customer service. And then when one of my uncles or one of my cousins was running the store, I would go out and do all the catering orders and fulfillment, had the receipt book and the whole nine. I'd be going and pitching door to door, that type of thing. My mother had a salon and was also a teacher, but my mother had a salon, and I started off sweeping hair and then being a shampoo boy and all that kind of good stuff. So it was ingrained in me.
Yeah,
my great grandfather
my grandfather actually owned a salon as well in DC.
Oh, wow.
I never got to see it because it got burned down in the riots.
Jeez.
So, actually, I think he did rebuild it later in life, but yeah, it's crazy, the entrepreneurship that we lost.
Yeah, we lost
through the generations, man. Like, is that something that you see as a recurring theme in Black America? Like having to start over every generation?
Every generation, every time somebody dies, the next generation starts off at zero for two reasons. Number one, we give our kids way too many options. When you look at everybody else in America, 9 times out of 10, you will see those of us who are entrepreneurs in America, I'm talking about all Americans right now, you will see that their children will take some type of role in the business. Look at the Waltons, look at the, oh God, I hate to say it, the Kardashians, look at the Kennedys. Like, there's a certain path that happens. My dad had a homeboy. One of his best friends was a Vietnamese man named Quang Na, and he had a son and a daughter. Son was named Quan Jr. His daughter was named Young after their mother. And Quan Jr. went because he wanted to go to law school, so he became the lawyer for the business. Little Young, she went and became the accountant for the business. Because it's not what you leave for your children, it's what you leave in them. And when you have your children starting at zero, that's a problem. The second issue is we are the lowest participants in whole and or term life insurance. But you know we're the number one participant in? Fish fries and GoFundMe's for funerals.
Man.
Starting at zero all over again. So I tell in the Real Black Agenda, I talk about this. We got to stop treating our children like liabilities and start treating them like heirs, and put
Mhm.
them in position to get whatever they want out of life, but make sure that it's still structuring what makes sense for the family. In other words, when I die, two things happen. Number one, I got a bunch of books that will be released upon my death. Number two, my digital AI avatar that has all of my writings, all of my thoughts, all of my musings, all of those things, right? One daughter gets one, the other one gets the other, and combined, they take control of my name, image, likeness, and anything that comes after that. You know,
Wow.
when you look at how the Carnegies move, you look at Dr. Wayne Dyer, you look at any of these folks who have passed on in the white space, whether they're speakers, authors, coaches, whatever the case may be, when they die, the family still keeps going. You know what Carnegie Mellon is. I don't need to explain it to you, but Carnegie is a last name.
Edwards is right.
So if my kids decide, hey, we don't want no parts of the business, they'll just get a dividend every year. But the business is going to be, it's still in hands that are controlled. You understand? Like we don't set our kids up like that. Everything is, oh, I got it out the mud. You know, sooner or later you're gonna hit stone because ain't gonna be no mud left. Things
Is
are
that
gonna
an
dry up.
exclusive? Is that an exclusive? Have you ever talked about your AI avatar going forward? That's
Not
interesting.
bits and pieces, but not all the way. No.
Yeah, because that's interesting. I wonder now. We getting Kevin Samuels uploads. You and
Mm-hmm.
I both have listened to Kevin Samuels. I actually did the trailer for Kevin Samuels' channel for his videos. Rest in peace.
Wow.
A very impactful figure. What would it be if we had an AI version of Kevin that went forward? Like, I know this is controversial, obviously. You've consented to that, and Kevin didn't
Sure.
necessarily. But how valuable can this type of property be going forward?
Countless billions. Like I look right now at Comic-Con, they had a AI Stan Lee, like a full 6 foot Stan
No.
Lee could
Wow.
answer questions, talk to you at length about darn near anything comic book Stan Lee related, the whole nine. It was literally like talking to Stan Lee. You know,
Man.
they got one for Biggie. Like there's a bunch of those things. I think that stuff's important because here's what's happening. Because we've gotten so digital minded, we've gotten impractically horrible. Meaning, if we're not careful, physical media is going to be like a dinosaur. Like there's those what's that movie? Was it Fahrenheit 451? The book Fahrenheit
Oh,
451,
yeah.
where they burned all the
Fahrenheit.
books.
Yeah.
If you burn all the physical media, if you get rid of the physical media or make it something that is irrelevant, you know, everything is digital, then they can go in and they can slowly but surely manipulate stuff and start doing Mandela effects. Not with me. Nope. Nope.
Mm.
That's why I always, people are like, well, you're just going to do digital, you're just going to do an ebook. No, I'm doing everything. But there's physical copies of my book.
Mhm.
Like I'm really big on physical media, and I think it's important. But I think a Kevin Samuels AI, you know, advice situation could be something that would be worth hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, if it was handled the right way. I think anybody who has any impact
Yeah.
should look into that, but it's got to be very well guarded and very well protected.
Right. And that is the problem with AI.
Mhm.
I foresee coming is
Mhm.
the manipulation. Like as we saw in the release of Sora, like
Mhm.
so many people's likenesses, Martin Luther King, Tupac, Biggie,
Yeah.
all of them were used for these silly little things because their likeness was so available and
Mhm.
publicly available.
Right.
And then the family of Martin Luther King had to step in and actually put a stop to this because it was disrespectful off the
Mhm.
top.
Yeah.
Although, you know, it was kind of cool to see Martin Luther King with a World Wrestling WWE belt on his shoulder. Like, yeah, you the
I'm
champion.
taking on all comers. Anybody in the back want to come down to the ring?
I was like, yeah, he was the champ. Like, give him his props, you know what I'm saying? But-
Listen, there's some of that I think as far as like parody goes that should still be available in the public sphere. Now,
Yeah.
if you're trying to rewrite history with it, that's a different slope. But you know, being a public figure, some of that you just got to take. Because when I dropped my comic strip called Woke and Broke, there's going to be some bit go to my iPad strips. I'm just telling you that right now.
That's another one. Who he's got enough content out there now that they might build a library on Rolly. But this is the thing, though. A lot of times people can put things in your mouth, like Pause.
Pause.
But
Hey, yo.
a lot of times, we're not doing the Rolling podcast. No, let me stop. But yeah, like what happens when the AI manipulation happens and it's not what you intended it to be? Like that's the problem here, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's a thing where we have to be cautious and we have to understand. And I think that's why laws are created. The one thing that I love about our country is we have a living, breathing document called the Constitution, where if something is not right, we can go amend it. We can put laws on the book. We've got a Supreme Court that can say, okay, this is what it should be. This is what we will no longer allow. Given that these things did not exist, you know, there's this little slippery slope in between what was at the time of the law being written and what is now, and those things have to change and evolve. I think there should be a happy medium, because here's what I need people from the baby boomer generation all the way to the start of the millennials to understand. We're not going back. No one is going to their Yahoo email 9 times out of 10. No one's asking Jeeves a damn thing. Right? Like no one is sitting around like, you know what I got to get tomorrow? I'm going to get me a new Hotmail account. It's not happening. We do not go backwards from a technological standpoint. This is here to stay. People would say, oh, I don't want nobody following me. You know, the government can track you. You got a phone, numbnuts. Of course the government can track you. They've been tracking you. You're sitting up here right now getting self-driving cars. You're getting all electric cars. And you don't realize if everybody switches to electric, they can press a button and shut you down.
In an instant.
And that's like, no one's having that conversation because we're worried about who Blueface is sleeping with. Like, that's the game. It's this sleight of hand misdirection they continue to do in front of us because we're not asking, hey, hold up, how does this continue to happen? You know, and so I think, yes, there's a slippery slope. Yes, there should be caution, but it's coming no matter how cautious you are.
Yeah, man, that's really interesting too. I always get kind of shaky about the idea of having EVs and Teslas. Like, what happens when you run out of 300 miles worth of energy? Like, are you going to be able to regenerate if there's no more charging stations? If the charging station goes down, the grid goes down. You know, that's how my mind works. I'm like, yeah, I think you have a better chance finding some gas somewhere than you would recharging your car.
Right.
But that goes to solar and that goes to other powers. And like, should we be looking into developing that type of thing? And should Black people, since you are the author of the real Black agenda,
Thank you.
would you there is a brother now that is making gasoline out of plastics. Should Black people be some of the leaders in some of these non-traditional fields that actually serve us?
Yeah, I think it's a situation where we already are. The problem is we don't own any of the means of production. And I'm not getting Karl Marx by saying that. I'm saying that we are always the creators and the innovators. We are very rarely the reapers of the benefit of what we create. So when we start looking at, you know, things like, for example, you know what saved Chrysler, right?
Was it Black people?
Yes, it was Black people who saved Chrysler. You remember the Chrysler 300s?
Oh yeah.
You know,
Man,
you know
had
that
a
was a Black
Chrysler before
invention.
that. They were so terrible. My Chrysler broke down going cross country, man.
Your ass running around here in a 1988 Sebring. That's your problem.
No, it was a 1990. No, it was a 2000 or 2001 Sebring.
See, I was close.
Convertible too. Was it convertible?
Yeah, I know it was convertible. I know it was. The top came off.
Yo, it was terrible.
That's all right. But yeah, we continue to innovate and get taking advantage of, because we are not going into ownership. We're not pooling our resources. Everybody wants to be the leader. Everybody wants to be the one driving the bus instead of everybody just piling on the bus and getting to the destination at the same time. I tell people all the time, you can talk about money, you can talk about business, all that's great, but it don't matter how much money we get. No Negro has an inch of land in Chinatown. Not 1 square inch. And that's by design. Bro, listen, all you need to know about how to gatekeep, you can learn from Dragon the Bruce Lee story. Okay, what's up? Bruce Lee is teaching them our art. Let's kick his ass. Real rap. They're not wrong. You showing outsiders how we get down. What happened to the hair care industry? Black folks, specifically our sisters, were being all welcoming and everybody, and we love everybody. And they went, learned the game, and then put everything in their native language. The manufacturing process, the order forms, the whole nine, and edged you out of your business, and then hired your children to have to be the black face on a yellow space. But
talk about the black producers over there literally producing K-pop artists. Like the whole genre is 90s R&B repackaged.
Yep.
Incorrect.
But look at that, though. That's our fault. And when I say it's our fault, I'm not talking about radio. I ain't talking about Charlemagne. I ain't talking about no radio programmers. I'm talking about black people at large. Look at what white folks do. White folks, Celine Dion ain't even got it no more. Like, she's sick half the time. Folks will still support Celine Dion to this day. Garth Brooks still selling out stadiums. We just now getting a stadium tour with Boyz II Men, New Edition, and Tony Braxton, but it took Boyz II Men, New Edition, and Tony Braxton to equal
all
one
together.
New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
To equal one Backstreet Boys, to equal one NSYNC. And then with New Kids on the Block, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, each one of their stadium tours had like 10 other artists opening for them, and they doing one or two songs, and then New Kids on the Block come out, and these people are going crazy. We drop folks off. You mean to tell me Teddy Riley ain't dope? Are you serious right now? Bobby Brown would disagree with you. Michael Jackson would disagree with you. Guy would disagree with you. Rex and Effect would disagree with you. Blackstreet would disagree with you. But what is Teddy Riley doing? He over there cutting it in on them Korean kids who are cutting the check. We do not protect our icons, but then we get mad when we get a bunch of trap music, drill music, mumble rap, and BS R&B. You did it. You ran them off.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So as much as I can't stand K-pop, as mad as I am at the way that they have used people like Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak to cosplay us. Okay, so you mean to tell me you think Bruno Mars is black? The face of Asian American Pacific Islander month? Nah. Have you seen his sisters?
I think Anderson is half black.
He's half black, but again,
right. he's half with it.
He celebrates half that month and half of February, I'm quite sure. At the end of the day, what I'm talking about is when we talk about foundational black Americans, look what they did with Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
We got to stop playing these games. Y'all still holding Chris Brown to something he did when he was 17 years old. Man, damn near 40.
Yeah.
Like how you look.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
like we did that. We set K-pop up.
Yeah.
You know, so I got a lot of issues with the fact that we do not keep our culture to ourselves. We do not protect our culture. And then all of the tethers and all of the mixies and all the folks that will push back on this will say, well, music is for everybody. And Jack Harlow is great. And
No, it's music for everybody, and we've created every American art form. Every American form of music has black origin.
Because when there's a check involved and we start pointing out the fact that it's ours, of course they're going to do what they always do. It's nothing but audible manifest destiny. It's the same thing. We put it out. We discovered it. It's ours. That's why you got, to this day, you got record producers and promoters. I'll give you an example of how racist that business is, even though people love them. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. You got a history with the music business. You started off background singing for Teddy Pendergrass?
Teddy Pendergrass, Gerald Levert. I'm the youngest person to re-record the Twist with Chubby Checker. Before me, it was the Fat Boys.
Wow.
Yeah. I was the president of the Teddy Pendergrass Institute for Musical and Performing Arts. From there, Robbie Partlow from City High was with us. Reese, who used to do some stuff with Talib Kweli. Like there was a bunch of us who came out, had deals, the whole nine. Yeah, like I was a kid, man, but like Teddy was great. Like I learned so much from him. You know, just on how to handle things, branding, how to present yourself, work ethic, what it meant for stage placement. Like there's a whole lot that goes into that. I think for me,
what era was this? The 90s?
90s, early to mid 90s. Yep.
Okay.
So from the time I was like 14 to the time I was about 18 years old.
Wow.
You know.
That's dope. To shadow a legend.
Mhm.
Like, did you have a family connection with him, or
No,
you
no.
just kinda
I went to an open call audition. I
what?
sang, and me and about 40 other kids, and then there was like 6 of us who wound up doing other things, you know what I'm saying? And again, you learn a lot about the business. You learn about how a record deal can happen and still get shelved, and
Right.
there's a lot that goes into the business that nobody talks about.
A
But
mess, man.
listen,
That whole financial system, like, can you give me a little
woo!
insight on that in the music
Listen,
industry?
I will say this to you. If you get a record deal, what you're getting is a very advanced payday loan designed to keep you stuck for the rest of your life.
Bars.
So look at it like this, right? And Left Eye says something very similar to what I'm about to say. If you look at their VH1 behind the
Oh,
music,
TLC. Poor TLC.
poor TLC, but see,
I
they
was in
all
the TLC movie, by the way.
shut up.
Yeah, I played Left Eye's father.
Now
For
I got to
like
go back and watch it.
that big. That much time, yeah.
But that little bit down right there, what?
And just the size of my iPad.
Just says your iPad, go, you dumbass.
Stupid fools. But go ahead.
All right,
You was
so
talking about
say
the
you
music
get
industry.
say you get a
Payday
record
loan.
deal, right? So say you get a record deal. What they're going to do? Let's say they just give you 8%, right? Which is kind of standard, especially for a new artist. Out of that 8%, the first thing that happens is they give you an advance. It's an advance. Another nice word for advance is loan.
Loan.
And it's against what you make, right? So that comes off first. Now, keep in mind, you've got your agent, you got management, then you have to pay the producers like, David Banner, Teddy Riley, whoever, Stevie J, whoever you want.
Stevie J.
Say what don't act like Stevie J and the Hitmen didn't do.
Stevie J was nice though. I will give you that. Yeah.
Respect that. Respect that, man. If for nothing else than the Benjamins, like the Benjamins is crazy with
I
it.
know it's just this reality persona has taken over, but yeah, I get it.
Listen, I don't mess with Stevie, but Stevie J was a beast. The Hitman was crazy. But anyway, you got to pay for their production fees out of your 8%.
Right.
Every video that gets shot, Hype Williams do your video, yeah, it comes out of your 8%. Everything. So you're sitting there waiting for the money to come in, but the money don't never come in because you gotta get there. Why do you think 90% of all signings in a year wind up falling off? Because they're taking so much risk. So they're hoping that you're just the one that actually pops. It's like a bag of microwave popcorn. And so for me, I looked at it and I said, this is kind of crazy when you think about it because you can't get out of that loop. And
Right.
then there was a time where you could go out and tour and make your money, or you could do a side deal or an endorsement deal and that was your money. But then, oh, wait, 15 to 20% for management, hair, makeup, clothing, travel. That's why you see so many rappers broke. That's why you see so many R&B singers broke. And then you got these accountants that are in on it. And
Oh yeah.
the practice and the way that it's set up, and I'm not saying this is the only person, but I can connect everybody who you say has had a shady deal to one man. Clive Davis. People talk about TLC. Who was TLC signed to? LaFace.
LaFace Records.
And who was their manager? Pebbles. Pebbles was
Pebbles
L.A.
was
Reid's.
their manager between the LaFace.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pebbles was L.A. Reid's wife, who owned the distribution network for LaFace Records,
Arista.
and who ran Arista.
Clive Davis.
Cool. Milli Vanilli. Remember when Milli Vanilli had to give back their Grammys and they were so horrible because they deceived absolutely everybody? Who was in charge of that company?
Was it Clive Davis?
Clive Davis. And again, sue me if you want to. I'm just going to point to the documentary that's sitting on Peacock or Paramount Plus right now. And then I'm going to show you what Fab told me himself, which was, you 100% right, Dave. He was the mastermind. He knew what was happening. But yet and still, he don't get no smoke. He ain't been brought up on no charges. And people forget, before he was a music executive, he was a lawyer. By the way, this same music executive lawyer that everybody loves, from Janis Joplin to Whitney Houston, partied while Whitney Houston lay drowning in a bathtub.
Yeah. That was sad. Rest in peace.
So, you know how back in the day when the Lox and Black Rob and all these people were complaining about the bad boy deals?
Yeah, it goes back to Clive. It goes back to Clive.
I'm just saying. Like,
You can do it. Bad Boy, the era stuff, back to Clive.
that's it. And so my whole thing is we always focus on the fruit of a thing, but we don't focus on the root of a thing. Right? Same thing with Jimmy Iovine. Who won the East Coast West Coast beef? Jimmy Iovine did.
Jimmy Iovine. Yes.
That's it. The people who distribute always make their money. Who got more money from Beats by Dre than Dr. Dre did? Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah.
So don't come talking to me about the rappers do this and the rappers do that. Who created the 360 deal? Leor Cohen.
Leor Cohen.
But he sits up there and talks to my good friend Sharma and said, yeah, I gotta eat. You invented the 360 deal. All you do is eat, homie. But you would never have your daughter out here doing what some of these artists do. So that's the thing. You don't see any of these purveyors of media, whether it is an Andy Cohen, whether it is a Harvey Levin from TMZ. You never see any of their children being exposed and disrespected and made fun of and clowned for profit. But they seem to have no problem exposing and disrespecting and clowning our people for profit.
That's true. That's true, man. Now you cooking right now. You cooking with gas, man. We can stay on this music industry thing, but let's shift it a little bit into the radio. You definitely have a history in radio as well. Sure. What's your, now we talked about them in the Roland Martin segment. What's your history with Charlamagne the God? Because I think that was one of the, if not the first times I saw you, was when you were teaming up. You went on the Brilliant Idiots and you did a couple other shows.
Yeah.
The Breakfast Club, of course. You did that too.
Yeah, a few times. I'll say this. I met Charlamagne about 20 years ago. This was right after he went viral, before virality had a name. He had interviewed a video vixen named Buffy the Body, and he was doing vintage Charlamagne, you know.
Oh, we know Buffy. We know Buffy the Body.
Yeah, listen. So he literally went viral. Wendy invited him to come through. I reached out to him. I said, bro, like, you on your way. Like, it's up for you. It's a great opportunity. And we have been
was he on the Wendy Williams show at that point?
Not just yet. But he was on his way up. He was still in South Carolina.
Wow. So you're pre-Wendy. That's deep.
Yeah, no, because again, I'm the first graduate of the Wendy Williams School of Technology. I didn't really do the gossip part as much as I understood the business end of what she was trying to teach me, you know. And my whole thing was, I felt like, and this is me being
Did you produce the show?
What, The Breakfast Club? No,
Wendy Williams.
Yeah, I was one of the producers. There was a show called The D and Wendy Show, which took place after she came to Power 99 when she left.
Philly.
Yeah, when she left. And then you know, I lovingly got fired, and she said, you hungry, you got a fire in your belly, you'll be all right the next time I see you, you'll be successful. And I didn't get it then, but the next time she saw me, I was producing Ricky Smiley, and he was in 30 markets. She was like, I told you so.
That's right.
You know, because and people are like, well, why you give so much love and deference to Wendy Williams when, you know, she basically was behind you getting fired? I said, you got to understand. She fired me like Roberta Flack fired Luther Vandross. It wasn't because I wasn't talented. It wasn't because I wasn't gifted. She knew that I would never get out of this place and see what I could do. So I went from market 4, because Philly was 4 at the time. I went from market 4 to market 125, and I clawed my way back up the dial, market by market, 34 cities, 19 states. So by the time she got to me, I was in Dallas. We had syndicated Ricky. We had just closed Miami. So she put something in me, and the last thing she said to me before I got let go was, I was making $25 a week in the U.S. Virgin Islands. You'll be all right. You got it.
$25 a week in the Virgin Islands?
That's what she said. I was making $25 a week in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And I was like, I felt like Kanye in the Kobe Bryant commercial when he's like, what's that got to do with me, Wendy Williams? You bugging. But
like, Wendy.
I learned very quickly that I could do more with less. And so at that point that day, I got fired. I cried my eyes out because I'm 22 years old. This is the, you know, biggest show in the city. I'm, you know, big man on campus. I'm the guy. Yeah. And I had left Radio 1 to go across the street just to get fired several months later. And I was talking to my mother, and she said, well, Can't really call Wendy because she's got something else planned for you. Um, if you weren't you, who would you tell you to call?
Mm.
And I was like, well, the only person I know that could probably help was Russ Parr. So I called Russ Parr. And Russ
Shout out
Parr
to
got
Russ
me.
Parr.
Shout out to Russ Parr. I would not be sitting here talking if it was not for Russ Parr.
Funny dude, man.
Russ Parr is why I started doing voices. I heard Russ Parr do Michael Jackson. And it was an entire bit where he's talking to himself and he's like, hey, what's going on? We got Michael Jackson on the line. It's like, yo, what's up, Russ? and, and Russ is like, well, where's Michael? I'm right here. Michael, you're not Michael. Michael don't talk like that. He said, my bad. I don't have my hand on my crotch. See, this how it works. Right? When I have my hand on my crotch, it sound like this. When I have my hand off my crotch, it sound like this. Hand on crotch, hand off crotch, hand on crotch. I was like, yo. Then he doubled down and did Bobby Jimmy and the Critters, man. He had that song, Roaches. Russ Parr was who I was chasing.
Look at all these roaches.
Exactly. I literally saw somebody who looked like me, who was crazy, who liked to do crazy voices and had no problem, being playful and being fun. Like, black men are not always so damn serious and angry. And he said, send me the tape. And so I sent him my tape and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm not going to hear from this man for 3 days. I get up, I go to the bathroom, phone rings. He was like, yo, your tape is great. You got an interview in Fayetteville. Can you get on the plane? Wow. Yeah, Russ, I'll get on the plane. I flew down to Fayetteville that night. The next day I had my deal. The next day I was back in Philly. I was packing up my little Chevy Cavalier. Mm-hmm. And I drove all my little worldly possessions to this $300 a month apartment. And I did afternoon drive, and I wound up having like record-breaking numbers in afternoons.
Wow.
And then, I could tell you how many times I got fired, hired.
On your own show?
On my own show. I did afternoon drive, yeah.
That's dope. Yeah. So you're on air talent as well as behind the scenes.
Yeah, I was on air talent. I was on air talent. I was production director. I did promotions. I did sales in some markets. I did sales in Winter Haven, Florida. If you've ever been a black man doing sales in rural Florida, Central Florida, we ain't talking Miami.
Yeah.
We ain't talking Fort Lauderdale. We ain't talking Orlando. We're talking Central Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Or Meridian, Mississippi. Bro, I could do this all day. But I learned very quickly that radio was changing. And they did not want a star. They wanted somebody they could plug in. They didn't want to build up a star, because if you build up a star, you get a Russ Parr, you get a Doug Banks, you get Angie Martinez, you get a Wendy Williams, you get a Donnie Simpson. And we're like, no, we're not doing that no more. We're not doing that no more. We just want people who can just do time and temp, and we'll go and get a washed up TV actress. We'll go get a comedian that was on
reality show people, all that. And I'm like, I used to have to get a license to do this job. Now y'all just bringing in chicks because there was an LL video. Wow.
I'm just saying. So
doing it well.
Ironically, yes.
Oh, really? That was one. I gotta look back at that video now. That was the person.
One of them.
That was one of them. Wow.
Yeah, so that was the thing. So now.
So how many years was this career in radio?
25.
25.
Mm-hmm. I was the first director of social media for a Fortune 500 company. And my last gig was back at Power 99 in Philly. So I clawed my way back to the place I had left unceremoniously 10 years before.
Wow. In a different regard, too.
Different regard. I was an executive, and I'm coming off of putting the fastest growing morning show in syndication for urban radio. I mean, I at that point I had, R&R awards. I had, top 30 under 30. Like, I wasn't the kid that went from intern to producer. I was the kid that went from intern to producer to drive time to morning man to executive producer to programmer to assistant programmer to ops manager to director of social media.
Wow.
So, it was
this Ricky Smiley show that was the one that changed it?
Well, as far as
the one that kind of turned things around when you came back to Philly, was it? What was the main show you brought back?
Well, I mean, I bought Ricky Smiley to syndication, Philly was never going to accept Ricky, and I was out at that point. After I did Ricky, I wound up homeless. But before Ricky, like I did Desert Storm Radio with DJ Clue right after
Clue one on it.
yeah, right after he went from Hot
Shout out to
97
Clue.
over to Power 105. Shout out to Clue, because Clue was a dream to work with. You know what I'm saying? Like he submit his mixes and whatnot, and then we edit and put all the production in, this, that, and the third, and had a really good gig. The syndicator was black owned. It was a syndication company called FM2 Radio, and they took real good care of me. And Clue was just gracious and honest, and like I have to this day, I got Clue's bombs. I got Clue Manada, like I got all those drops right now.
Really?
Yeah, they in here somewhere. They on a CD or a DAT tape somewhere. Yeah.
Did you hear that? No, I didn't come through. If I was on my regular setup, I got them right here.
Drop one of Clue's bombs for me.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
funny is, like, I feel like I brought that to YouTube. I heard it on the radio, of course. And, Funk Flex was using his version. Blue had his version. But the bombs was something that I feel like I brought into my live streams, and then everybody was using them. So, go get your Drops Bombs Faucette Media shirts available on this channel right now.
Yes.
But
Drop one of Faucette's bombs one time.
you said publicly, let's get into the nitty gritty, because I heard you on your conversation with the young lady. What's her name?
Oh, you're talking about Carisha J?
Carisha J. Shout out to Carisha J.
Absolutely.
She seems to be doing some big things down in Atlanta.
Yep.
But you all got on the topic of dating and modern, the modern roles for a traditional family. Can you expound on that? Go into some of that, what you all work kind of at loggerheads about.
I think it's one of those things, and again, you got to remember, she's much younger than I am. She doesn't have children. She is not married. She has not lived as much as I have. God, I sound old saying that, but facts are facts. And so
woman too. You like
her particular thought process on how the world works is as delusional as I would expect it to be from someone so young. In that, we open in degrees, and I don't know. Okay. But we
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. I can't figure. I feel like Donald Trump talking about Joe, but I don't know what she's talking about. I don't even think she knows where she is right now.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
What is it?
I don't get it.
That was little
But
Jerry Lewis.
the thing, hey lady, oh. But I think for her, it was this, dudes ain't meeting us on those levels. No, what it is you like Pookie. And you like Pookie pushing you through the headboard. And you like Pookie busting your cheeks. And so you want Pookie to somehow magically transform through your intervention in the corporate Tupac. Tupac was a theater kid. He like the Tupac y'all saw was
I am
not
also
Tupac.
a theater kid.
So am I.
Oh, yeah?
Bro, I played Aladdin and the Genie. What
No
you
kidding.
talking about? No kidding.
You never had a friend like me.
Listen, don't get me started, bro. I'll bust out show tunes and make it like, whoa, this dude actually. No, I'm not doing it.
I know, man. We're not bad people, y'all.
No,
Theater
we're not.
People are regular people.
We're
y'all.
regular people, and
They think we
and you'd be
nerds or something.
nah, we're smart.
Cool as shit.
Cool as hell. We get along with everybody. We're Switzerland. But the thing with her is you're not going to get what you want from Pookie. And the truth of the matter is, I don't know if you've ever been to Houston, but there's a minister I like out there. In his most famous sermon, Reverend Michael Jones, he said, back then hoes didn't want me. Now I'm hot, hoes all on me.
I don't think he was a reverend, but I
He
know what
wasn't,
you're talking about.
because what he said was the gospel truth. I may be mistaken. I haven't visited his
preaching.
church, but I do know, like I know the Potter's house, but I also know Swisher House.
Swisher House was, yes, definitely in effect.
But what I'm saying is there has to be a
Jay
reason.
Screw.
Listen, R.I.P. Screw. Like if you ain't been to Houston, you ain't know about that
Screwed
Screw
up.
music.
No, I just was
Listen.
there a couple months ago, man.
But my
Great.
point is
Shout
there
out
is
to
a
my boy.
there's a thread of truth with the fact that, and Umar said this, and it was the most brilliant take on this I've heard.
Okay.
Your 20s is for, the thugs. Your 30s is when you're messing with all the pretty boys. And now that you've been bombed out and depleted, now you want to go get a good man, and now it's stepdaddy season. You're doing that.
For the modern woman, yeah.
For the modern woman. And so when you're sitting up here talking about that, I don't care about your resume. I did not marry my wife because of her resume. I don't give a rat's ass about a blue check. I don't give a rat's ass about your damn degrees. Because like I told that young lady, you can have more degrees than the thermometer and still not understand the temperature of our people. There is an op to keep us separated. What did J. Edgar Hoover said? The two biggest threats to the United States is the rise of a black messiah and black unity. What's the quickest way to destroy black unity? Make sure that black men and black women aren't marrying each other. If you don't think the gender wars isn't a psychological op, you are as dumb as dog crap.
Go to my iPad.
Check that iPad. Make sure you check it.
Hey, get it, stupid fool. Stupid fool. Get the booty chicks off the front page.
What is that on my iPad?
How did that get there?
Change the page. That was my Twitter. You know, you go through Twitter and it's just a bunch of...
It's just up there. It's
just there. It's booty cheeks. Yeah. But, so, back to
this whole relationship thing. I'm reminded that we don't understand what we want from each other. I do not want me in a wife. I want a wife to complement what I already have. I don't need, like, if you've got 2 phone chargers and no outlet, your phone gonna die because there's nothing to plug it into. We've got to understand this is not Jerry Maguire, you complete me. This is you complement me. We are meant to be together. We fit together. And there's nothing wrong with that. Society will talk about body count. Society will talk about, go out here, get the bag, bop, bop, bop. But what I have learned through experience and through living life is that the best thing you could ever do, the most revolutionary act you can have is a black family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And I will protect my family from all threats, foreign and domestic, up to and including myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, about this gender war, a lot of people try to say any man on YouTube or TikTok or Twitter or anywhere else that speaks about relationships is somehow participating in the gender war. What would you say the real manipulation is in this gender war that we're seeing? Because I feel like there are some people that are just calling balls and strikes. They're seeing what's going on. I try to do that. I definitely try to do that.
Here's what I would say to you and any content creator who is a straight male. You have to understand that what you're doing is responding to what's being put out there. And this has been going on for the better part of 60 years. When you were a kid, there was a song that used to come on the radio. And they said, "Bill collector's at my door. What can you do for me? Ain't nothing going on but the rent." That's it.
Have a J-O-B. If you want to be with me. Yeah.
All right, let's fast forward a little bit. A scrub is a guy that thinks he's fine, who's awesome.
Also known as a buster.
So, you're telling me that you don't want no scrub because he's sitting out the side of his best friend's ride trying to holler at you, but you're bankrupt.
Literally. Wow. The irony.
Let's fast forward a few more years, shall we? Schaefer Smith wrote a song for
Beyonce.
Beyonce.
Signed for a Suzuki Sidekick, yo.
A Suzuki Sidekick. And Schaefer Smith wrote a song for Beyonce. You must not know about me. You must not know about me. I can have another you.
In a minute.
Uh-huh.
So everybody's replaceable. That's exactly what's going on in the dating game right now. I think a lot of women see guys and they're like, I'm on to the next one because I want to be like Beyonce in that song.
But you don't want to be like Beyonce because Beyonce sang about that while rubbing her husband's back on a yacht on the Amalfi Coast. You don't want to be like Beyonce.
Uh-oh.
She's a wife. Literally. You campaigning to be a baby mama. So one of these movements is backed by media manipulation that I can trace back at least 50 years. The other one is in response to the media manipulation that has been traced back at least 50 years. So when you are saying,
important distinction.
Here are the balls in the strike. Here's the state of our communication. Here's the state of our people. Here is the state of the community. Also, look at what's happened. From 2005, you'd have to go get a prescription to get a morning after pill. Now they are popping Plan B pills out of Dwayne Weed's, Walgreens, Walmart,
7-Eleven.
CVS, 7-Eleven, like they're stacker twos. You understand what I'm saying to you? So You got that, and then you got abortion clinics on every single corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then you talk about women's reproductive rights, but you're not talking about the fact that regardless of socioeconomic background, Black women are dying and having huge complications while giving birth. And it ain't got nothing to do with money, because Serena Williams and Beyonce almost died on the table, and I just named you two billionaires. And the only thing they got in common is that they're Black women. So if we're going to talk about women's reproductive rights, why do we stop the conversation at the vacuum doctor and don't pick it up in the natal unit? See how
Why
that
don't
works?
we?
Because that goes against the plan. Like a lot of times you got to watch what's being said and fed to us, right? So in 2008, Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight says, you know, the thing that people don't understand is if a gangbanger takes out a couple of kids, that's all part of the plan. But you take out a DA, oh, that's front page news. It's part of the plan for us to have abortions. There would be 40 million more of us if it wasn't for Margaret Sanger's eugenics project. And I don't care how many Black women they put in those high places and send up to the Breakfast Club to talk about how we're different now. Mr. Faucette, if the Ku Klux Klan decided to open up KKKFC, are you eating that fried chicken, sir?
Absolutely not.
No, you're not. Why wouldn't you?
My convictions, my knowledge of prior actions of this organization, yes.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be touching.
You wouldn't, because there is a distinct history that guides your trepidation. Meaning, because they used to burn crosses after the Birth of a Nation movie was shown in the White House, and they put on sheets, and then when they took off the sheets, they put on badges, and they would chase our great grandfathers and our grandfathers, my grandfather specifically, because he beat up one of their raggedy kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would not be a good idea to let these cross-burning, card-carrying racists in the name of Jesus feed us. So why in the world would I allow someone who was so vile, so racist, said we were a blight on humanity and we needed to be wiped out, who was an idol for Hillary Clinton, allow her in our communities to tell our women that they need the baby sucked out of them? Because where's the adoption centers in the Black community? Where are the culturally competent healthcare clinics in the Black community? Few and far between, right? And I'm not talking about the ones that got with Dr. Fauci and said, get the jab. So if we're going to talk about how this whole thing breaks down, we got to look at who's funding it. We got to look at what their mission statements are, what their impact is. So when a masculine framed heterosexual male gets on YouTube and says, hey, y'all are out of order, he's not being greasy. He's saying, in response to what I'm constantly bombarded with on the internet, whether that's tonight's conversation, whether that is any type of show where it's like, well, you know what? If you like a girl that you met at the supermarket in the produce aisle over some grapes, you should cash app her $500 so she can get her nails done. I'm sorry, I will not in any way, shape, or form support the rising of the simpocalypse.
Sympology.
Yeah, I can't do it. SIMP-ology, using reverse psychology. No, I'm not.
Right.
No, we not. No, the simpocalypse must die.
Yes, and simps, yeah, they're really messing up the game a lot of ways. Like especially simps that have high level positions, athletes or entertainers. They have really kind of ruined a lot of things in the game.
And we got to start practicing discipline. That goes for you, me, absolutely everybody. And sometimes we think that because something is presented to us that we got to jump on it, and that behavior has got to stop. And you learn that. I think a lot of folks learn that when they start to mature and they start to realize, okay, oh, this is the game. This is how this goes. I see what they're doing now. And
manipulation.
There's a manipulation in absolutely everything. and then trying to shame us into voting one way for somebody that said, I'm not going to do anything for the black community, to try and tell us that because we're
Yeah.
not, bowing down to you, and you happen to have, a C-suite degree, and you running around here championing DEI, and even though DEI affects white women, like all of this stuff is used to manipulate us and weaponize one half of black people against the other half of black people. And I'm not really here for that.
Yeah, speaking of that too,
Sure.
like there are a lot of people that are under the assumption that what we're going through now with our current president, Donald Trump, is somehow 10 times worse than what would have happened under a Kamala Harris presidency. The black community, I think, at large, kind of has this take. What is your take on that? Because you were critical of Kamala Harris, as was I.
Certainly.
But
Let me
we're not necessarily beholden to either party, and I don't think people
No.
understand that nuance.
Here's the thing. And I had a friend of mine, right, who was in radio. He does television now. And he says, well, how can you go sit down and talk to Republicans? I said, I'll talk to anybody who's willing to have the conversation. Anybody. Because I'm not married to nobody but Janae Anderson. And last I checked, Janae Anderson ain't running for no public office. She already got the position she wanted. Wife and mother. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Shout out
Wife,
to
mother,
Janae.
auntie. Shout out to Janae. The thing that I need you to understand is this. I live in the United States of America. My father fought and bled for this country. My stepfather fought and bled for this country. My grandfather fought and bled for this country. My brother fought and bled for this country. My aunt and uncle, I'm talking about police officers and military veterans, my cousins. Everybody has fought and bled for this country. I love my country. Because we live in a representative government, a constitutional republic, we have people who are elected in order to represent us. Representing somebody means, right now, I am representing Devlin, Dory, Janae, Edith, Carl, Aaron, everybody who bears my last name when I'm talking to you. I am representing them. That's why when you look at any football jersey, when you look at any basketball jersey, what's on the back of that jersey? It's your last name, because your last name is who you represent for your family. The name on the helmet is the team, or on the front of the jersey is the team. Who you're playing for is on your back. Having said that, I have a constitutional right as a voting member of the electorate to criticize elected officials. That's it. I campaigned for Kamala Harris when she was running for president. I'm one of the few black people I know who actually not only voted for her, wanted to vote for her, but also financially contributed to her campaign, because I liked how she was getting down when she was a senator. Not gonna lie to you, because
Are you talking about the first time around?
The
or
first
this
time
most
around,
recent time?
when she was
Okay.
running for president, the first time around,
When she was actually running.
when
yeah.
she was going after Biden and talking that good stuff.
When
I
she-
liked what she was saying. I liked what she was talking about. I liked that she wanted to do things for entrepreneurs. So she said, I like that she stood at the National Action Network with Reverend Sharpton and said, I'm going to sign a reparations bill. Not a study. If it comes across my desk, I'm signing it. I said, oh, we need to write a check for this lady. I don't know if she's going to do it, but just on the off chance she doesn't, a lot of times that helps. That's the part of political process that black people don't take
But
advantage
didn't
of.
she also say reparations? I'm not going to sign that.
That was
No.
later. That was later. That's when she jumped on the Biden ticket, because after she jumped on the Biden ticket, she went from, I was in the second class of people who were bused. How? You went to school in Canada. But I digress. Joe, you said these things and I don't get it. And you did this, that, and that Kamala Harris I liked. The we did it, Joe. I can't mess with that one. And here's
Right,
why.
because that represents a compromise, and it represents her kind of lowering herself, because she kind of compromised to be in that position.
She backpedaled.
Second fiddle.
And they found a JEE, a just ethnic enough woman, because
wow.
they got a JEE because they didn't want, what's her name? You know who I'm talking about, out of Georgia. Oh, I can see her clear as
Stacey
day.
Abrams?
Stacey Abrams. They didn't want Stacey Abrams. I remember Joe Biden was on CNN and Stacey Abrams was there. I guess she thought she was going to get vice president. And when she didn't, she was like,
Oh, really?
you gotta watch the clip. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be wrong. Here's the thing. My issue with the former vice president is this. She lost the election for herself. It wasn't Donald Trump. It wasn't the fact that Donald Trump is the next Hitler and all this. Here's how she lost the election twice. in the same campaign in 107 days. I don't know if you have a wife or children or have.
No.
Okay. Have you ever been in love before?
Yes.
Have you met a woman? How long did it take you from the time that you saw the woman to the time you asked her out?
Immediately.
So it didn't take you 107 days to say, I want to pursue this.
No, it did not.
It didn't take you 107 days to get her number.
Nope.
Did it take you 107 days to take her on a date?
No.
Did it take you 107 days to
The clap? Nah.
So why do you need 107 days and act like that's a handicap? That tells me everything I need to know about you. Secondly, because this is like 1A. She was on The View. Last I checked, The View was filled with liberal, well-meaning white women and Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, they had her tied up.
And they said to her, very simply, this was a low ball, low IQ question.
I know.
If you could do anything different than what Joe Biden did, what would you do? She said, and I quote, I can't think of a thing. I don't know. I can't.
Keep it exactly the same.
So the status quo where eggs are $8 a carton.
Yeah.
There was people literally making TikTok skits talking about they selling eggs like drug dealers.
Because that was under Biden.
That was under Biden, right?
That people get that twisted. They seem to throw everything into the
Under
current
Trump, he
administration.
was a private citizen at the time. I don't rewrite history, I recite history. Then in the debate, I'm not talking about the debate Biden and Trump had, I'm talking about the debate Trump and Harris had. She said, well, you know, with the border and that, he said, no, wait a second. Hold on. I don't know what you're doing, but you're there right now. What are you talking about day one? You're there right now. You're the border czar. I'm not the border czar. And then there was all these clips of her saying she was the border czar. CNN says she was the border czar. MSDNC said she was the border czar. Fox News says she was the border czar. Everybody said she was the border czar except for her. We've been to the border. Have you been to the border? Well, I haven't been to Europe either. Yeah. Then he said Donald Trump beat her here when he said, all you got to do is go at like 4:30 in the afternoon or whenever Joe Biden wakes up and get him to sign an executive order to close the border. You don't need to act at Congress to do it. Why aren't you doing it? You're in the Oval now. You care about the American people. Why aren't you doing anything right now?
And he did it too.
On day one, he didn't even take his jacket off, homeboy. So my thing is, if you had 107 days and Joe Biden was doing the work of the American people, can you name me one thing they did in 107 days? Hell, the 4 years, just the last 107 days of the Biden administration that made things better for black people. One thing. Other than get out the White House.
Other than get out the way.
And that's the thing. So y'all can't tell me how
bow
capable.
out of the election.
Yeah,
You know?
you can't tell me how capable she was. You can't tell me how well-intentioned she was. You can't tell me how powerful she was. You are the first black vice president. You had the Oval. Joe Biden and you both confirmed that you are the last person out of the Oval. You signed off on absolutely every decision, which de facto makes you just as liable as President Biden was. And I'm not going to sit up here and take pot shots at the former vice president and former president. I'm going to tell the truth. The truth is Joe Biden said you were the last one there, that you were on every major decision, that you co-signed every major decision, you co-signed the co-sign of every major decision, and you did not do a good job. You didn't win one swing state. You can talk about it was the closest race in this millennium.
Right.
Well, I mean, I am the number one contender for the WWE championship in my household.
Right.
Since we're just making up zippity doo-dah.
Martin Luther King.
Yeah, so right now, you don't even know this. But I am still, right now, the $1 million champion.
$1 million champion. Ted DiBiase.
Right now. No Virgil, just me. I took my $1 million championship on the Breakfast Club, and Charlamagne was like, well, you know, he had a butler. I said, yeah, but Virgil won that belt. I said that belt also went on LA Knight. That belt was how we got introduced to one very young Steve Austin.
Yes.
This belt means something. And for me, it was a situation where if you know Ted DiBiase, you'd understand that he is fighting against recidivism, especially in the black community. He also, you know, he ministers to people in prisons. I've seen him do. We had long, drawn out conversations about it. That belt is taking something and making it great and then giving that thing meaning. If that is not the real black agenda, I don't know what is. Because Virgil was the $1 million champion at one point and whooped Ted DiBiase's ass for it. And then the thing of it is, Vince McMahon would never give Ted DiBiase a shot. And when he got the opportunity, he did what black people should do. He put his money behind Andre the Giant, got Andre the Giant to win the title, and then Andre the Giant handed Ted DiBiase the title because he paid for it. Because he understood, like everything else, everybody's got a price. That's why the $1 Million Man is a metaphor for what black people need to do in order to get there. And that's why I wrote the Real Black Agenda. So shout out to Ted DiBiase. But back to Kamala Harris.
Wow, hold up. You know Ted DiBiase. So is that an authentic $1 million belt?
Yes, of course it's authentic. It's not his, but it is an authentic $1 million title. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yes, indeed.
That's what's up.
I have lived a life, bro, and the thing that I want black people to understand.
It looked very real. That's why I was looking at the weight of it.
It's very real. No, it's
as a wrestling fan.
It's about 15, 20 pounds. All those crystals are real, yes.
Yeesh.
Yeah,
that's hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's hard, yo. I need to borrow that. I need to borrow that for a little bit.
No, my brother. You got to get your
own.
They sell really good, reasonable facsimiles on WWEshop.com.
I know, that's what I was saying. I thought maybe it was one of those. But nah, that's what's up, man.
But bro,
the contributions of Ted DiBiase, did not know this interview was going to go there, but that is amazing. Where's he from? Is he from your area?
I met him during COVID, and he did a virtual meet and greet, and he knew who I was because I also go into prisons and I talk about entrepreneurship, because here's what nobody talks about. And I'm a huge constitutionalist, but the Constitution has a trick bag in it. When you make amendments, in those amendments, there are little clauses. So take the 13th Amendment. Slavery is illegal in the United States unless you commit a crime. Then you go in there, you serve your debt to society, and then one of the conditions when you get paroled or when you get released is you have to maintain gainful employment. What's on every single job application? Have you ever been convicted of a felony? If you lie and say you weren't, that is what? A felony, and you go right back in. So if you can't get a job because you're a felon, even though you paid your debt to society, and you can't make money, and that's a condition of your parole, you're going to wind up back in jail. But the loophole to the loophole is entrepreneurship. And that's what I go and I teach. Because look how many people go into prison and they go in scrawny and they come out swole.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's people who are literally making cookbooks on jailhouse recipes that are absolutely delicious because there's a level of invention that comes with that culture. It's a culture in there. But if you show people that you can be the best mobile detailer, you can go and get a barber certification, you can become a braider, you can become a licensed tattoo artist, you can start being a personal trainer and get an ACE certification. There's all these things that you can do that I'm fighting to keep our brothers out of that system that Joe Biden and Bill Clinton put us in. 1 in 3 of us will wind up in prison. So that in and of itself is one of the things that I really am passionate about, and that's why I wrote the Real Black Agenda. I want us to realize that we got to start removing ourselves from the system. Mr. Anderson is trying to unplug you from the matrix that they put in front of you and told you that that steak was real when, nah, it's completely BS.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, never got that joke in grad school.
Yeah, man. No, that's amazing, man. Let's talk about the relationship. Do you think marriage serves Black men and women in this day and age? And is it just something that has become passé? Should we not do it on paper? Should we not go to get the government involved in our relationships? Is that something that you would you've heard or you're aware of?
I'm very well aware of that. I am married. I love being married. Even when marriage is difficult, there's not a woman on earth. And my wife has put up with a lot of stuff, man, because she married a 600-pound, damn near 600-pound radio personality who became a 210-pound, 22-time best-selling author who says real greasy stuff on the internet, on stage, on radio, on television, in public and private.
And were you as established as you are now, where were you at when you all met?
I was a 17-year-old snot-nosed kid who saw the most beautiful girl he'd ever seen in his life and said, I'm going to marry you. And she told me I was crazy. Ain't crazy now, though.
And you all got together at that point?
No.
Okay.
We got together much later
I'm
on
going
in
to live life, right?
Yeah, I lived, Joe, 19 states, 34 cities. I was living life. And she lived life. But what we found was, because her twin sister is one of my college best friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, everybody does that. They're like, oh, wow, why didn't you just met? Because that would have been weird. And no.
That's weird, man.
It's weird.
That's weird. This is cool.
This is cool. Yeah,
no, I understand completely.
But, you know, because personality, you can look just like somebody, but it's not the same person.
Totally different.
Completely different person.
I went to school with twins like that.
Yeah, but
100%.
The thing of it is, I had come out of a bad situation. She had come out of a bad situation. And I'm going to tell you how good God is. I got on my knees and I prayed to God. And at this point, I was homeless. I was living in my brother's garage. And I said, God, I don't know what your plan is for me. I said, but I'm going to say this. And I said, it's the only time I've ever demanded something. I said, if it's your will that I get married again, right?
Again.
Allegedly, I was married before, but again, the marriage license wasn't turned in, so
okay. That one don't count.
It don't count. It was the practice marriage.
It was on the house.
That was on the house. I got to pass. Do not collect $200. Do not pass go. You ain't getting half a damn thing. God bless you though. Anyway, I said, God, if I got to do this, and if it's your will for me to do this, I got a couple conditions, Lord. Humbly, I want somebody who knew me before I was any type of radio comedian, whatever. I want somebody who is going to challenge me. I want somebody that I can't stop looking at. I want somebody who I'm going to be able to laugh with. And I want somebody that when everything breaks down, we'll still have each other. I need somebody who's going to be not just a lover, but a friend. And I need somebody who's going to, if it's your will for me to have children, I'm going to need somebody who is going to help me raise them into what I could only imagine life would have been like had we had everything. The next day I get a call from my college best friend and she's like, yo, I'm going to Michigan. Me and my fiance going to Michigan. We're going to go see my mom and my sister. I thought your sister was, out of the country with they broke up. Oh, really?
Oh, really?
I said, I'll drive. I'll buy the coffee. What y'all need?
Wow.
And I was I'm like, is she single?
Like, she looks like me, right?
I'm like, no, but she don't. Like, to understand my wife was the girl that, she wore the skin tight dresses and the high heels to every class. Right. And my sister-in-law was the girl who wore sweats and carried chemistry books this big.
There it is. That is exactly how they split up most of the time too. One's athletic, one is
the glamour girl. Puss. And again, they're both
artistic.
Beautiful. Yeah, but yeah, man. And that was it. And we had been together ever since. And
wow,
God is good. He gave me exactly what I wanted, but he also gave me exactly what I needed. And I say all that to say, if you have that type of love story, doesn't mean that it's always pretty, doesn't mean that there aren't bumps and bruises. This is not Disney, right? The other part of that is marriage is as much a business arrangement as it is a adventure and romance and friendship and growth and family creation. Right. The family in and of itself is a business. And I think, if you get the government involved, that's your choice. I did because I wanted to make sure that if anything were to happen to me, she would be good, and why wouldn't I stand before God and the government and say, this is my person. She has my name. This is the mother of my children. Why wouldn't I do that for me? If you don't want to be married, don't get married. Michael Jackson said, if you can't feed your baby, don't have your baby. And like, that's how I feel about it. I think marriage is the most revolutionary act because they don't want us married. They want us. Bro, yes. There are, how you have wedding coordinators? They got divorce party coordinators. It's a booming industry.
Really?
It's a $2 billion per annum industry right now.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, but that's the current state of affairs because they are weaponizing our lack of cohesion to their benefit. And so, bro, you can't... let's scratch everything I just said. Watch this.
Okay.
I did not start... If money is your goal, if getting to the bag is your goal, I did not start making serious money until after I got married.
That was what I was going to ask you. So many women out here are trying to skip steps and find a man that is already a millionaire, that has built his life earnings so that they can support them and they don't have to worry about a thing. When you met your wife, you're saying that you were not in the financial or mental or physical place that you're in now.
I was broke. I was just coming off of washing up in a gas station sink.
Wow.
I was living in my brother's garage, sleeping on his futon.
Mm.
I was doing, this is the ironic part. I was doing a show on Blog Talk before I got the gig at what would eventually become iHeart.
Okay.
And I worked for a buddy of mine, put me on to a company that was big in Italy that was trying to break into the United States. And I took a piece of that company, and the company was called Spreaker.
Oh,
And Spreaker, eventually we went and we bought Blog Talk.
right.
And then iHeart absorbed us. At that point, I'd
No
already
kidding.
divested. But like
Yeah.
when I say like this is the stuff that nobody talks about because they don't want a real business person talking. And what I told Charlemagne and whoever will listen is if you don't know what I have, you don't know what to attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like the stuff I'm front facing on is all business bully stuff. If you don't know all of the companies I have fractional ship in, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to tear asunder what we have built. And when I say we, I'm talking me, Janae, my mom, my daughters. Everybody has a hand in this, not doing the day-to-day ops. But do you think I could go touring and do a press tour that has lasted 5 months if I didn't have the full backing and cooperation of the woman upstairs?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? My 10-year-old has autism. She is wonderful. She's beautiful. She has mild autism. She's a genius. She's got a near photographic memory. She will cut you quicker than I will verbally. She's a monster with it. And she don't got the filter her almost 50-year-old daddy has.
Right.
We had her in the public school system. It was a disaster. Do you think I could homeschool my child if it wasn't for my wife spearheading that part of my child's education? My child is doing 5th and 6th grade concurrently. Do you think I could have gone out here and gotten it so that our oldest child could go through Howard debt-free, drug-free, and drama-free? I
Tell
paid
me
that
about it.
tuition cash. So this is a team sport. Just because you don't see what's happening in the back office does not mean that there's not a back office.
Right.
My marriage has made me face all of my demons, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still fighting 1,000,001 battles. And I think any black man in America who is a family man or is just trying to survive this, toxic masculinity era of anything a man does that's manly is bad, is fighting it. I could not fight that war if it wasn't for my wife. And when I lost my brother, she said, "You need to go to therapy." I said, "Therapy?"
Mm.
I was like, "We done tried that 1,000,001 times." She said, "I ain't talking about, marriage counseling. I'm not talking about, and I'm talking about you need to process your grief. You need to process your anger because you won't be able to move unless you get that off of you." She was like, "What would your brother say?" I said, "My brother would tell me to man up."
Yeah.
And he said, "What else would he say?" And I'm like, "He'd tell me go get help." And that's what it is, bro. Like between what my wife directed me to do and then watching Kev on stage lose his brother the same time I lost mine. Those clips, like they were therapeutic because I was crying and laughing at the same time. It's like, yeah, man, we're gonna go watch that Marvel movie. Oh, like the Marvel movies you watch with your dead brother? Boom.
Jeez.
Like, because that's how Kev processes his grief, but it
It's
helped me.
dark.
It spoke to
Comedians,
me.
they can go dark for sure.
But
For sure.
that's what it means to be a comedian.
Yes.
That was, again, I did everything I wanted to do. I've done stand up. I'm a Laugh House original. I predate Kevin Hart at the Laugh House. I'm in the Michael Blackson chocolate class of the Laugh House, thanks to D Lee. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So, like, again, you learn improv, you learn crowd work, you understand punchlines, you get timing.
Yes. Yeah.
I was blessed enough to say yes to a lot of opportunities disguised as hard, backbreaking work. And those opportunities led me to what some people would consider success. my success for me is not 22 best-selling books. My success for me is not millions of dollars in helping people build and grow and scale their businesses. My success are my daughters. My success is my wife. My success is my mother's living a comfortable retirement in Arizona. My success is I do not wear a 7X t-shirt anymore. My success is I can do more push-ups than Roland Martin on my worst day. Wait,
Well, before we get distracted with Roland again, I did want to touch on a point. What is it about black men? Because I personally experienced this as well. Black men who are maybe going a non-traditional path, entrepreneurs, actors, writers, musicians, going through this period of homelessness. You talked about that briefly. Like, what is that causes us to do that? Is that a lack
we're going to go
of...
there?
Hmm?
Okay. We're going to go there?
Let's go.
Okay. Do you want my politically correct answer, or do you want me to be as honest as I've been this entire time? Because I can give you both.
As honest as you've been this entire...
You got it. I was homeless for 2 reasons. One, I allowed a corporation to come between me and one of my best friends, and they were more concerned with their bottom line and getting somebody to operate the way that they wanted him to operate more than they were concerned about our friendship and our working relationship. So they tell him one thing and then tell me one thing. You got to get him under control, because if not, we're going to replace him with D.L. Hughley. We'll replace him with Rudy Rush. You will replace him with Cedric the Entertainer. And I'm like,
who was your friend?
Ricky Smiley.
It was Ricky. Oh, okay.
And, you know, I'm happy he's doing well. And I thank God that what
he's had some interesting political takes recently too.
Yeah, none of which I agree with.
None.
But again, everything comes at a price that I'm not necessarily willing to pay. But why did I wind up homeless? I lost that gig 3 days before Christmas. I'm with my cousin. I just flown from Dallas to Philly to spend Christmas with my family. And I'm at Houlihan's. And I'm ordering the salmon. And my boss, Hurricane Dave, he says, yo, I've been trying to get hold of this. I just got off the plane. He said, listen, yeah. I said, what's going on? He was like, I got to let you go. I said, let me go what?
Let me go where?
Where are we going? I'm like, we're already set up for the Obama inauguration. That's how far back this goes.
Okay.
This is the first Obama inauguration. My hair was black. My waist was huge. And he was like, I said, okay, well, give me a reason why I can't. What do you mean you can't? There is no reason. But you know what the reason is. And I said, oh, cool. I had to bring in a consultant, and that consultant was there to, I guess, whip the show into shape. And a lot of times when people feel pressure because they've been in a place they've never been before, rarefied air. And 15 years ago, we didn't have the conversations about mental health in black men that we have now. So if you're ADHD and bipolar, and people are putting all this pressure on you, and they're weaponizing your friends in order to get you to dance to their tune, you're going to have a reaction. So in hindsight, I have a lot of grace for the way he was manipulated and the way I was manipulated. But that's what that was. That's not that man's fault. That man was wrestling with something that most people don't understand, and damn sure didn't understand 15 years ago. And so after a while in radio, if you were to ask anybody about me, a lot of times people would call me Radio Tupac, because what would happen was I would get shot, fired, and then I would go across the street. First off, up your in the click, you claim West Side, we ride like out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dream. Like, oh damn, he's over there now.
Yeah.
So everybody thought that I was okay, or I was laying low for 6 months. I was riding out some magical, mystical non-compete, which I did not have. And so everybody,
no severance.
Oh no, I got a very nice 5-figure severance.
Oh, good.
But I was living a very nice 6-figure 2-car lifestyle in the suburbs of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
I can catch up. Yep.
Thank you. So when the money goes, will the honey stay? Everything automatically starts getting stripped away from me. Gigs I was up for magical, all of a sudden, we decided to go in another direction. Oh yeah, what direction is that? So after a while, when you can't work anywhere because my resume from 9 to 29 is radio, television, stand up. They're like, oh, you're just going to try and do this job until Hollywood come calling. Why would I invest anything in you? Why would I give you a
Wow.
gig? So you got nowhere to go. Do you know what it's like being a 500-pound man on your first day of homelessness? You can't make no cardboard signs saying we'll work for food. You've had enough.
You had enough. You got a couple of days reserved,
Oh,
don't you, sir?
the other part of that was you got to remember from the time I was 9 years old, I was the kid. I was the one.
Right.
I was the guy. Like, I didn't miss. Now I missed. You could say whose fault it was or whatever, but my pride kicked in like, yo, I can't let nobody see me like this. I ain't got no place to lay my head.
Yeah.
I'm living in my truck. I can't worry my mom. I can't worry my 60-some-odd-year-old mom with this. My brother got his own family to deal with. I'm going to just have to, I'm just going to ride it out for a couple of months. I can get by. I got my phone.
And you feel like black men, sometimes we get into that place of being a burden on people, and we suffer in silence because of that.
Yes. And it was the stupidest, most ego-centered thing I've ever done in my life because I could have bought my behind home. But I was ashamed because I was like, yo, I'm going to make it in it. I don't want to be no lawyer. I'm going up and down the dial. I'm Venus Flytrap like WKRP in Cincinnati. I'm going to be the Black Howard Stern. You know what I'm saying? Wendy said I was going to be successful and I proved her right. Like, I can't be this guy. But I was. And what I should have done was take my black ass home. And so I found a gig, luckily, because I'm a person that knows how to communicate and I know how to sell a little bit, working in a call center.
Okay.
Setting sales appointments.
I remember those days.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't a pretty time, but those commission checks, got me off the dollar menu and got me a Planet Fitness membership so I could shower and stop washing my nuts at the Quick Trip at 360 in Carrier in Arlington, Texas. And I talked to my brother one time. He was like, yo, I know you and such and such broke up. Where you staying? And it was the way he said it. I don't know if you have siblings.
I do.
You have a brother?
I have 2 brothers, yeah.
Okay. There's a way your brothers can speak to you that no other human being can. And they're not trying to be greasy. They're asking a question, but what's behind the question is that language that only you and them speak because you grew up in that house. You grew up in that culture. You understand the family structure. And when he said, where are you staying at? Every part of me turned into the little boy that was tagging behind me.
You started crying. And wailing and snotting.
Bro, I'm trying to fight back tears telling you this story. That's how painful it was. And I'm like, I lost everything and I don't have a job and I ain't got no place. I'm parking in the Walmart parking lot, sleeping in my truck.
Boy.
He said, Dave, when you get your next check? I said, Friday. He said, get your ass home by Monday. I got you. I'll take it from here.
Wow.
And I did. I quit and I went home and I stayed
Quit the call center, right?
Yeah, I quit the call center and I went home, tail between my legs, just, but he was just happy to have me. And, he wouldn't take a dime from me. I remember I gave him a bag for Christmas and he was like, take your money. And all this is going on. And, at this point, my wife and I are dating because she was the only bright spot in my life, aside from the fact that I now got a roof over my head. And
she's in Philly.
No, she's outside of Detroit at this point.
Oh, she's in Detroit. Okay.
Yeah, she's outside of Detroit in a little town called Port Huron. And she's got a really good gig at a medical school. And she gave me half of her tax return. And I used that plus the little money I had. And we got ourselves a really nice apartment and we moved in together and we got engaged and we got married the very next year. But my pride, my ego, and the fact that black men are not giving a space to fail comfortably is why I was homeless. I felt like I couldn't get that shame off. I was going to embarrass my mama again because I was taught my last name was much more important than my first. My daddy's dead. My daddy had just died 4 years beforehand, and his only biological son is a homeless bum?
Mm.
You know, like, nah. I didn't know how to reconcile that. And there's a lot of us who don't know how to reconcile that. And we don't feel like we have a safe place to land that does not come with judgment, because we don't get the same level of care, comfort, and safe spaces that our women get. Nor should we, to a certain extent, but we do need some grace.
Hmm.
And I didn't feel like I had that, but I was so wrong. And I was so happy that I was so wrong, because my brother took care of me. And I remember this is right before I moved out. I said, you know something? He said, what? I said, as long as I've been alive, I don't ever remember you telling me, I'm your brother. I'm your only brother. I don't ever remember you telling me that you love me. And he said, nigga, he said, you here, ain't you?
That's
I
enough.
ain't asked you a dime. He's like, of course I love you. He was like, you remember when kids used to try to bully you, this, that, and third? Who beat their ass? I'm like, you did? When you needed, the dope sweatsuits and the polos that I didn't, because
Felines.
the Filas and the Air Forces. When I got a pair of Timberlands, who else got a pair of Timberlands? I did. Who did that? You did. He was like, you my baby brother. I love you. I shouldn't have to say it, but if you need me to say it, I love you more than you could ever understand.
Mm.
And I was like, wow. Wow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because to him, his love was action. His love was showing up. His love wasn't the words. I didn't need the words. I had him. You know what I mean? And so when he died, very unexpectedly, I took it hard, because he taught me like what it meant to be a father. He taught me what it meant to love people through your actions, not just your words, because you can say I love you all day and not mean it.
Right.
He told me on my wedding day, 10 years before I had to eulogize him, he said, I can't be there because my brother was a cop and he couldn't get away. But he said, I want to let you know that what you're doing, like, I've never been prouder of you. You know, you found somebody to make a family with who I love and respect, and she's good to you.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that too. You said the connection between your wife and you being her twin sister's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, talk about a vetting process. How much
Woo!
are women missing that in this day and age?
Bro.
Of family like dynamic of choosing a partner.
Bro, I went through a gauntlet. I don't know if my wife gonna cuss me out for telling you this, but I went through a gauntlet. It's not her fault. It's just how her family was structured. You know,
Right.
I knew her mom because her mom worked at the university that we attended as
You know her
kids.
mama already?
I knew her mom,
You
but
already
she
there.
she knew she knew Dave. She
Right.
ain't know Dave coming to try and take my baby.
Oh, that's a little
So
different. That's a
yeah, no,
different
my
Dave.
mother-in-law locked me in a room and we had a real good conversation. That was a lot of yes, ma'am. No, I love her. She's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. You know, I'm gonna do right by her, and so on and so forth. And I'm gonna mess up. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sit up here and say I'm gonna be perfect. I'm not, because I'm
Right.
human. But I'm gonna love her as perfectly as I know how. And if I don't know how to love her perfectly, I'm gonna figure it out. But I love her, and I don't know what life would be without her. And I've never said that about any human being,
Wow.
except for the ones that came from my loins. And even my best friend, my sister-in-law, she said at our wedding, during the wedding toast, she said, "Dave, you my best friend. I know where the bodies are buried." She said, "However, something happened between you and my sister. I'm riding with my sister."
Family. Blood
Her
is thicker.
grandfather was like, so why you want to marry my granddaughter?
Mm.
Because I love her. Yeah. You gonna pay the bills with that love? Nah, I'm gonna pay the bills with hard work. What are you gonna do? Anything it takes. I went through it because she was worth it.
Yeah.
And again, y'all sit up here talking about earn me and this, that, and the third, but there is no man who can come for either of my daughters before he steps across my threshold and sees me. I need to know what you about. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no such thing, because you're not going to mess up my bloodline.
Right.
You are not going to pookify my legacy.
Right.
It ain't happening. Daddy's in the building. And bro, the greatest job I ever had was not stand-up, was not best-selling author, was not motivational speaker, was not business coach. It's father. And the only way I got promoted to father was because I got the job of husband.
Yeah.
That's it. And again,
And that's the right way around too.
yeah, I know we out of order. And when Iana said that people got mad, but we are. And again, we got to realize that if a man really wants you, and I'm not talking about what you do in the bedroom, I'm talking about when it comes to your life and your life track. If he wants you, he should be able to face your family. He should be able to say, when I went to Janae and I said, listen, this is what I'm thinking for us. I want to do this and I want to do that. I don't know how we're going to get there, but this is my plan. I remember one night, probably not even a year into our marriage, I asked her, I said, babe, what made you decide to marry me? And she said, you're the only man I know who ever came to me with a plan for our life.
It was impressive.
And I was like, and to me, I was just like, I was just speaking from the heart. I just like, yo, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. I think we could do this. And I'm like, you're great at this. And, da, 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 da. Because fine is great. My wife is fine. Lingerie model fine. Like, my wife is beautiful.
Right.
However, fine fades.
Sure does.
Our connection, our friendship, our understanding of each other. My wife and I have a language where we could be across the room from each other and I could have an entire conversation. If I go like this, she already knows what that means. If I go like this, she knows what that means. And she goes, I know what that means. We have
that's subtle.
Unconsciously created a language where we know what it is at any given time. And
it's
it's
over how many
right.
years of marriage?
Oh God. 13 years of marriage, 15 together, known each other 30.
Wow.
So we got 3 decades of a level of understanding that was built on a foundation of 15 years of friendship.
Interesting.
Do I like you with your clothes on? Do I like you when there's no chance of us doing it? Like, can we build? Can we talk about things? How do you feel politically? Where are you spiritually?
That's another thing about these women who keep putting men in the friend zone. When they looking around, they're looking totally outside for the man of their dreams. They don't consider those men as options.
No.
You just prove something here. That is a theory that I've had for a long time.
No,
of course, I don't have children because I haven't found a wife.
You haven't found a wife. That's called the natural order of things.
That's how I was raised. I was raised to wear condoms my whole life, because it was in the 90s. It was the wrap it up era. But I valued that thing above what I was encountering in wherever I was, in the entertainment industry or wherever.
Right.
But I'm open to it. I'm definitely open to it. So it's good to hear your story. And the person, the woman has probably already been in your circle of influence.
Yeah.
That's comforting. I think that would be comforting for a lot of people out there.
No, I knew, and I remember I had broken up with a girl from my high school sweetheart. Broken up with my high school sweetheart about a week before I started college, because I started college in the first summer session.
Okay.
And I was brokenhearted because this girl I went to the prom with, blah, blah, blah. And my mom said, little boy, you don't know what a woman is. You ain't met a woman yet. The day I met Janae, I came home because it was my mother's birthday. It was July 6, 1995. I came home and I said, Mom, I met a woman. She said, yeah. I said, Mom, she wore this white dress. It looked like somebody sewed her in it. She got this T-Boz Holly Berry haircut, and when she smiles, man, she said, ooh, you 17, right? I said, yeah, Mom, I know I'm 17, but I'm just telling you, you said I never met a woman. I just let you know today
I met one.
I met Janae, and we had a class together in the lecture hall. And they were calling roll, and they said Janae. I said Janae, yes, I did. I swear to God,
That was the first time you met her too.
Yeah,
So you met her before you met your best friend.
No, I met my best friend first. What had happened was my boy Frank had met. He was like, "You got to see the twins," and so I come around the corner, not realizing that this Janae girl.
Janae is
Yeah. So I see Janine. And I said, "Oh, you're cool. You look like
fraternal, identical.
identical." I was like,
Identical. You didn't put two and two together. They have that different a personality.
that different a personality. I just, she was pretty, but
Yeah.
but I was like, "Hey, you're cool." And I said, "Oh my God, you're hot." I said, "Janae, I'm Dave Anderson. I'm going to marry you, nigga. You crazy? Sure is. Watch."
You know, I'm a movie producer, and an actor.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking of the scripts. I'm like, that sounds interesting. Boy meets girl, then he meets twin sister. What?
Funniest thing. So
That's a hit. That's a hit.
that's not the punchline though. Here's the gag. My mother knew Janine, obviously. So
Yeah.
I'm like, "Mom, I want you to meet my girlfriend. Like, I think this girl's the one." My mother's like, "Well, what's her name?" I'm like, "Her name's Janae." And she's like, "Oh, okay." So Janae comes, and my mother comes down the steps. She's like, "Oh, I'm so happy to meet Janine." So my mother's running to her, thinking it's Janine. I'm like, "Mom, it's not." She's like, "This Janine." I said, "Mom, Janine has a twin sister." She's like, "What in the Young and the Restless is this?"
I know, right? What in the Christoph St. John, Drusilla,
Neil Winters type of BS. What in the Jabot is going on here?
All right.
That's hilarious. That ain't nothing but people raised in the house with black grandmamas. Because you ain't watch
Exactly.
your stories. You don't get those
know it.
references.
Every day.
But yeah,
every day.
no, like that was, my mother was like, but she looked just like, I'm like, they're not the same, Mom.
That is crazy.
No,
Mom's literally, she just knew it. You know what I'm saying? That's a little parent trap. It's a little. Yeah, man.
His Parent Trap is Love Jones. It's an amazing story.
I'm going to have to option that from you.
I knew you was going to say you was going to option the script. I already know. I ain't writing it, but yeah, I'm with it.
But
No, I think my love story is amazing because my family, bro, I just had this conversation with my wife the other day. I said, up until very recently, I had an epiphany that when I look at you guys and you guys are interacting and you're like taking pictures or waiting for a train to go to a concert, because my wife's birthday is November 15th, mine is November 19th. So 2 Scorpios in the house. That's fun. So
all right, well, happy belated.
yeah, happy belated to her, happy early to me.
Oh, right.
But
15th?
She's the 15th, I'm the 19th.
Oh, 19th. Okay, we almost there. Yeah.
Almost there. So I said to her, I realized that the greatest thing I've ever done was this family, this thing that we've made together there's nothing like it, And I remember when my youngest was born, my mother was like, "How does it feel?" And I said, I can't even put it into words. You know what I'm saying? Because biologically, I wasn't supposed to be able to have my own children.
Really?
Yeah, they told me it was a 3% chance at best.
And you got 5? How many?
Well, slow down. Technically, you're right. 3 of those are my brothers.
Okay, all right.
My oldest is adopted, and then there's Devlin.
Okay.
And I said, it's so amazing to have an Anderson that is from me, looking at me like, because I'm looking at this little thing who's got my eyes, and she got my wife's top lip and the split in my bottom lip, and she trying to see what's going on. And bro, like at that moment, I realized like I'm no longer the star of the show. It's still my show, but I'm executive producer. I'm Russell Simmons now. I want to thank y'all for coming out. Thank you. God bless you. Good night.
Exactly.
So now it's my job to build a legacy for them. And I think that's we love throwing around the Bible, and you got all these mega preachers out here. They leave out the part about inheritance. You're supposed to create an inheritance that your children's can't spend. That's what I'm working on. That's it, bro. I want to be more valuable dead than alive. And I think when you realize there's a lot more protection in a family, and we protect the family at all costs. It don't matter what else happens. And anything that does happen, we handle that in-house. We don't go out of the house to handle it. Like these are things that we need to be taught. And that's why there's an entire chapter in the Real Black Agenda about the importance of the family structure, normalizing using the Sunday dinner table for family business meetings. Dame Dash was on the Breakfast Club a few months after I was, and he was talking about the importance of a family office, talking about trust, talking about setting up our business. If my mother can create a trust fund on a teacher's salary, and my father could amass $1.2 million in real estate and assets on a cop's salary, we truly have no excuse. We just don't have access to the information. And for the record, my father died. He only had $300 left when he died.
He had to liquidate a lot of the real estate?
He had full-blown Alzheimer's dementia from the time I was 17 to the time I was about 26.
Wow.
So yeah, the properties went, the rental properties went, the timeshares went, the money went. And my brother is I'm his half brother.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
he wasn't biologically related to my father, and my mother was divorced, so she didn't have a say. And I was 17 when he was incapacitated, so I was not legal. So when the power of attorney happened, it happened with other relatives, and those other
Wow.
relatives
Squandered.
Yeah, bro, you want to option the script? Let's go. How many times of it is it winning, losing, rise,
Yes.
fall?
I mean,
roller coaster.
pursuit of happiness. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, that's epic, man. But yeah, that's the real story. I got the same exact story in my family. You know what I mean? Like grandfather amassed $1 million on a 6th grade education.
Yo, my grandfather had a 6th grade education. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. He might have been even. I gotta ask my uncle, but Grandpa Dan definitely was not a penultimate degree earner holder.
Right.
You know. But yeah, man, that is a great story, man.
brother.
Dave, we've been on here for an hour. Let everybody know where they can find you and where they can find The Real Black Agenda, your new book available.
Right. So you can get the
Right
book
now?
right now at therealblackagenda.com. Please get it from therealblackagenda.com. Jeff Bezos is building rockets that look like dildos. We don't need us to put our black dollars in Amazon. Put your black dollars in my black hands, and I'm going to send you a tangible book. That's how that works. I'm not asking for a donation. I'm asking for you to buy the book at therealblackagenda.com. You can find me
Some Powernomics.
Listen, shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson.
Shout out to Dr. Claude, one of my favorites, man.
I reached out to him, and his family got back to me, and they said, Mr. Anderson, we're very happy with everything that you're doing, but he, at 90 years old, he's not doing too well. It's on you now. And I was like, whoa, it's on me now. Oh, damn.
Hustle for that last name.
Listen, and we're not even related, but the name Anderson has very significant meaning. Right. And people don't understand, like, names mean things. My name, actually, my entire name, David Stephen Anderson, means beloved royal son of man.
Son.
Yes. Beloved royal son of man. David,
I got an autographed copy of Powernomics back there.
Listen, I got 3 copies in my house.
I was not expecting that. And I was like, I got a whole nother story where I believe I met him before I was even like fully aware of his contribution. But Dr. Claude Anderson is a legend.
Yes, he is.
And, it's about time. Somebody else, we need to take the reins.
Yeah,
We're
old enough. He's done enough. Let that man
Job
live
well
out.
done, sir.
Well done, my good and faithful servant. I know that's what God's going to say to that man. But Dr. Anderson, when I read Powernomics, and I saw what he was talking about, like, I was lucky to be mentored by Dick Gregory. And
wow. Shout out to another legend.
Yeah, he said, the day you do something with that mouth other than talk trash and spin records, you're going to be dangerous. He was like, you think that was about the Beatles catalog? Michael owned half of Sony, huh? And he pulled out his briefcase and he's showing me all the stuff. He's like, you don't know shit from shine order. That's your damn problem. Huh? That's what they do. Huh?
Yep.
But that was the thing. He always talked about the importance of taking it to the next level. And he said, then once you get some of that damn weight off you might look like something too.
Yeah, he knows because he actually was there. You know what I'm saying? He was a big dude.
He was a big dude. That Bohemian diet, I remember that was actually a halfway. It was a better tasting shake than Sunfast, but I digress.
Yeah, my dad was on it too. The juice, juicing.
juicing, that
Yeah.
Bohemian diet, and
Dick Gregory shakes or whatever it was.
Dick Gregory Bohemian diet shakes. Yes, sir.
Nice.
But I say all that to say that I know I'm standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yes.
And I don't take that lightly, but I'm also not out here trying to be a black leader. I'm trying to be a black man that contributes to society and show you that entrepreneurship is important. Controlling our narrative is important. Building our families are important. Taking a financial and real factual policy-based look at our political alignments is critical. And we've got to start circling our wagons and protecting each other. Even though I don't agree with him half the time, I do think Roland Martin needs to be protected. Just not from me. I think Tariq Nasheed needs to be protected. I think Reza Islam needs to be protected. I think you need to be protected. The Angry Man needs to be protected. O'Shea Duke Jackson needs to be protected. I think Voices, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews needs to be protected. Poor Man's Podcast Reacts needs to be protected.
All of them. Shout out.
All of our voices, the LFR family, Pop
Faucette
Culture
Media.
Mika, Faucette Media. I was getting there. I was on my way.
I'm coming.
Faucette Media needs to be protected because it's platforms like yours that have not shut me out, that are not afraid of my message because my message is a little too radical for the mainstream. What you talking about? Group economics and things that happen in the hood. So you can find me at The Business Bully on all social media platforms, except for X. On X is DA. Too many letters in The Business Bully. Don't like it. Elon didn't like it.
Yeah.
But, doing a good job. Doing a good job over the Faucette Media. Like what you're doing. Very good African American. But no,
He's
that's where
my
I am.
favorite African American.
He's a good one. He's a good one. Not like
There's my African American.
they'll get him over there. But no, man, again, find me at therealblackagenda.com and follow me on social media at The Business Bully. But yeah, man, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for letting me run my mouth. Hopefully this hodgepodge of nonsensical flap trap I've spit over the last hour will, turn out halfway decent.
Oh no, I think we definitely gonna reach some people with this.
I hope so, man. And I hope they get the book. By the way, when's your book coming out?
Faucette Media's book?
Yes.
2026?
Good answer. First quarter 2026. We're making it happen.
First quarter. Oh wow.
Bro,
Got a lot of work to do.
I can do a book in 3 weeks. It ain't hard.
I've done the same with scripts, but yeah, it's
Yo,
gonna
that
be-
script writing scares the hell out of me. Like, my daughter was a film major. You all got that.
Yeah,
You and Stallone, y'all can have that.
a little different. Hey, yo, Adrian.
If I can change, we can change.
Yeah, man. All right, well, thank you, David Anderson, y'all.
Thank you, sir.
If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. This is Faucette Media.